John Mulhearn, we're here on April 26th. Want to talk about your new album,
Yeah,
Pipe Factory. So, John, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today.
no worries at all. It's a pleasure.
And how are you doing during this lockdown period?
Aye, not doing too badly. Do you know things could be much worse?
Yeah,
We've got a bit of space in the house. I live just literally just across the road from Glasgow Green as well, so there's a nice big park just over the road to walk around. So
yeah, very good. Cool. So, the Pipe Factory, your
Mhm.
latest album, it's coming out next week. Um, but I think it's your fifth album.
It's my third full length. I've got a couple of EPs as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the Pipe Factory.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a concept in a way. I was sort of reflecting on my last album, Pipes, really, which I recorded kind of up in Argyll, just kind of on the edge between Argyll and the Western Highlands. And the concept for that was really about capturing the pipes in a natural environment and really trying to make the most of the acoustics of a room rather than using technology to sweeten the sound of the instrument to use an actual space. So I guess I really like that approach to recording, and then started to think about how to do something that was more reflective of a sense of place. I guess I'm quite interested in the idea of place in music, particularly traditional music. I think it's quite a sort of fundamental concept in traditional music. So,
Mhm.
uh, coming closer to home, actually, my wife suggested a place here in Glasgow. I had a few ideas of places, and then she suggested somewhere that's literally just 2 minutes walk from our house here by Glasgow Green. And yeah, it's the Pipe Factory, and it's a building that's just on the edge of the Barras Market, right behind the kind of famous Barrowlands Ballroom. And it's an interesting building. It was a Victorian era clay pipe factory. So immediately, just the term pipe, I guess, it started to all kind of come together from that idea, really. And yeah, I wanted to sort of carry the same idea of capturing the acoustics of the room. So I went up and checked it out with Andrea Gobi, who engineered the session. And yeah, we're really happy with the acoustics, and it's quite an unusual space, I suppose, sort of semi-derelict industrial space, I suppose.
Mhm. So you actually went into the derelict factory premises and used it to record the entire album?
Yeah, so it's a sort of semi-derelict. It's owned by a trust, and it's used. One or two of the floors are used as artist studios. And there's a couple other floors that are left pretty stark, basically, with with the ceiling falling in spots and whatnot. But yeah, we went in and set mics up in a number of positions around the building, on the floors up above us, on the floors below us, in the stairwells. And I experimented a little bit with contact mics on my last album, so it'd be like a microphone that's really kind of on a sticky pad, and if fasten of those onto the bag, and onto the windows of the building as well. So like you've got a huge array of sort of source material when it comes into the kind of post production part of the album. So it's a really an album of kind of two stages, I guess. You go in and recording, and then doing the post production stuff afterwards.
Hmm.
But I guess the thing that really makes it a bit different from just being a sort of straight up piping album in the traditional sense is it is the post production side to the whole project, because we made lots of samples, of me like flicking the drone tops and flicking the reeds, and the valves and things like that, as well as just samples of the drones as well. And that's where all the harmony and all the percussion throughout it comes from.
Yeah, cool. And who helped you with it this time? I know Finlay MacDonald last time on pipes helped you. What about production wise for this
Yeah,
album?
so, well, that's right. Finlay helped out with the last album. Was a good sort of second pair of ears to judge on the takes more than anything else. And I quite like the idea. Everyone knows what it's like when you're playing yourself. You've got a good idea of how you're playing, but I don't think you always know completely objectively until you hear it back. So I had Ali Hutton sitting on the session for that one to kind of fill that role. Ali and I are pals and working on a couple of other projects together at the minute. So
Nice. So your creativity, you always seem to be looking for something new and different, and maybe, obviously it's your style, but you
it's
don't
the
like to
contrarian in me, I
you,
think. Just,
you don't like to sit still and go back and you like different
yeah,
things.
I guess so. Do you know, it's just, yeah, I guess it's just wanting to try and do new things, and it's what keeps me sane, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about some of the other projects that you have? The Big Music Society, Extraordinary Little Cough, other things that have taken.
Yeah,
Can we?
yeah. So the big music society stuff. That's myself and Callum McCrimmon, essentially, and we work on any number of projects. It's a sort of we've kind of got set ourselves a wide range of what we want to do there, really, but ultimately to try and create new platforms for Peter
Yeah,
um, away from the competition stage. So yeah, we've done a number of things. The most recent ones we've done were storytelling, actually. So with myself and Callum working in partnership with different storytellers in a live context. So the last one we did was Neil Monroe's The Lost Peabrach, and we worked with a storyteller called Martin McIntyre, who's a native Gaelic speaker and author as well, an actor. And yeah, we sort of brought that story to life. Martin kind of tweaked it a little bit, made some of the language a little bit more current. Perhaps some of the language, and that's a bit antiquated. And yeah, so that's the most recent stuff we've been on in the big music, and then the other kind of big project that I've sort of kind of been involved with for a few years now is Trist, which is a group of 10 pipers with, like I said, Finlay MacDonald, Ali Hutton, Callum McCrim, just a lot of pals here in Glasgow for the most part. And yeah, I guess it's just about going onto the not the competition platform, absolutely not the competition platform. The concert stage, and I guess trying to work on interesting arrangements of things and extend the range of what you can do harmonically and dynamically.
yeah. It seems, you work also with the National Piping Center, and there are seems like a lot of the teachers there are into other kinds of, non-competition kind of
Mm.
piping and extending the boundaries of the music. And you look at the conservatoire down the street and the involvement there. Did you ever imagine yourself as being a professional piper, pushing the boundaries of the Highland bagpipe?
Uh, Probably not, actually, if I'm honest with you. I started working at the Piping Centre nearly 13 years ago now. And I think when I first started there, I worked in the shop, actually. And then moved into teaching after about a year or so. But I remember thinking when I started there, I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, really. But I remember quite clearly saying I didn't want to teach. But actually, I've been teaching now for, like I say, 12 years, and I love teaching. And the Piping Centre is a great place to be, really. It feels that I don't know. I feel like right now between what's happening at the Piping Centre and then with the Conservatoire and just generally in Glasgow, I guess there's a very, very healthy scene, and it's just a very healthy time for piping here. And there's lots of interesting stuff happening. And I mean, like the competition thing's just as probably even more vibrant than it's ever been as well. There's more people competing than ever before. So, and that's pretty well represented at the piping centre as well. You know, so.
Yeah. So the back to the pipe factory.
Mhm.
Any other last comments before we wrap up about the album?
Um, yeah, I think just that it's a real, I guess for me, it's a real exploration of sound and place, and yeah, trying to sort of express something of me being here in Glasgow and pushing things forward a bit. But yeah, please go and visit my Bandcamp page, where you can stream it, but preferably purchase it. It will become available on, all the usual streaming platforms in due course. But yeah, we'll leave it up in Bandcamp for a little while. I'll not be doing any physical releases imminently. We'll see how that goes. Maybe see how well received it is and if it's going to be worth the while.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, John, and really appreciate you taking the time. And John Mulhearn's Pipe Factory is out next week, and we'll look forward to having a listen to it.